in which the last dangling threads of our story play out in the aftermath of Anna's death. Chapter 5. In the slanted evening shadow of the sacks piled on the platform, Vronsky, in his long coat, his hat pulled down over his eyes, his hands in his pockets, was pacing like a caged animal, turning abruptly every 20 steps. As Sergei Ivanovitch approached, it seemed to him that Vronsky saw him but pretended to be unseeing. That made no difference to Sergei Ivanovitch. He was above keeping any personal accounts with Vronsky. In Sergei Ivanovitch's eyes, Vronsky was at that moment an important actor in a great cause, and he considered it his duty to encourage him and show his approval. He went up to him. Vronsky stopped, peered, recognized him, and, taking a few steps towards him, gave him a very firm handshake. "Perhaps you didn't wish to see me," said Sergei Ivanovitch, "but may I not be of some use to you?" "There is no one it would be less unpleasant for me to see than you," said Vronsky. "Forgive me, nothing in life is pleasant for me." "I understand, and I wanted to offer you my services," said Sergei Ivanovitch, peering into Vronsky's obviously suffering face. "Might you need a letter to Ristich, or to Milan?" "Oh, no," said Vronsky, as though he had difficulty understanding. "If you don't mind, let's walk a bit more. It's so stuffy on the train. A letter? No, thank you. One needs no recommendations in order to die, unless it's to the Turks," he said, smiling with his lips only. His eyes kept their expression of angry suffering. "Yes, but perhaps it will be easier for you to enter into relations which are necessary in any case with someone who's been prepared. However, as you wish, I was very glad to hear of your decision. There are so many attacks on the volunteers that a man like you raises them in public opinion." "As a man," said Vronsky, "I'm good in that life has no value for me, and I have enough physical energy to hack my way into a square and either crush it or go down. That I know. I'm glad there's something for which I can give my life, which is not so much needless as hateful to me. It will be useful to somebody." And he made an impatient movement with his jaw, caused by an incessant gnawing toothache, which even prevented him from speaking with the expression he would have liked. "You'll come back to life, I predicted," said Sergei Ivanovitch, feeling moved. "Delivering one's brothers from the yoke is a goal worthy of both death and life. May God grant you outward success and inner peace," he added, and held out his hand. Vronsky firmly pressed Sergei Ivanovitch's hand. "Yes, as a tool I may prove good for something, but as a human being, I'm a wreck," he said measuredly. The nagging pain in the strong tooth, filling his mouth with saliva, prevented him from speaking. He fell silent, peering into the wheels of a tender rolling slowly and smoothly towards him on the rails. And suddenly a quite different feeling, not pain, but a general, tormenting inner discomfort, made him forget his toothache for a moment. As he looked at the tender and the rails, influenced by the conversation with an acquaintance he had not met since his misfortune, he suddenly remembered her. That is, what was left of her when he came running like a madman into the shed of the railway station. On a table in the shed, sprawled shamelessly among strangers, lay the blood-covered body, still filled with recent life. The intact head with its heavy plaits and hair curling at the temples was thrown back, and on the lovely face with its half-open red lips a strange expression was frozen, pitiful on the lips and terrible in the fixed, unclosed eyes, as if uttering the words of that terrible phrase, that he would regret it, which she had spoken to him when they had quarreled. And he tried to remember her as she had been when he first met her. Also at a station, mysterious, enchanting, loving, seeking, and giving happiness, and not cruelly vengeful as he remembered her in the last moment. He tried to remember his best moments with her, but those moments were forever poisoned. He remembered only her triumphant, accomplished threat of totally unnecessary but ineffaceable regret. He ceased to feel the toothache, and sobs distorted his face. After silently walking past the stacks a couple of times and regaining control of himself, he calmly addressed Sergei Ivanovich. "Have you had any telegrams since yesterday?" "Yes, they were beaten for a third time, but tomorrow the decisive battle is expected." And, having talked more about Milan being proclaimed king and the enormous consequences it might have, they went back to their carriages after the second bell. If you enjoy this format, please leave a like and subscribe and return tomorrow for the next chapter.